Right now, we are opening an investigative evidence file. Just to set the stage, this is not a sermon, and it's certainly not a leap of faith. We are looking at a paper trail. We're going to examine one of the most remarkable sets of prophetic claims on earth, and we're going to do it by taking the fair-minded skeptic side first. If a 600-year-old palm leaf manuscript really predicted the 21st century, your first instinct should be doubt. Good. Hold on to it. We are not asking you to stop doubting today. Instead, we are actively testing this massive claim against the 5 hardest, most unforgiving objections a skeptic can raise. Okay, let's dive into this. First, we need to establish exactly what we're looking at here. The Bhavishya Malika, which translates roughly to a garland of future prophecies, is a collection of texts from the ancient Indian Sanatana Dharma tradition. According to Bhavishya Malika, these scriptures were composed around 600 years ago in the eastern Indian state of Odisha by 5 great saints known as the Panchasakha, with Achyutananda being the most prominent of these great men. They recorded their writings on talapatra, which are palm leaf manuscripts. As we proceed, we're operating on a strict ground rule. Every claim you hear will be clearly labeled. We'll distinguish between verbatim scripture, a plain teaching, and a decoded date, which is an arithmetic calculation, not a direct quote. Here is our roadmap. We'll examine 5 objections. 1, the dating problem. 2, the hindsight problem. 3, the secrecy problem. 4, the moving target problem. And 5, counting only the hits. We will take the skeptic's side first on every single point. Let's start with number 1, the dating problem. Look, before you ask if a prophecy is true, you have to ask if the record itself is real. Let's concede this plainly and completely. To date, no laboratory carbon-14 dating or peer-reviewed study of a physical Malika leaf exists. That study doesn't exist, and it would be dishonest to imply it does. But here is the historical reality. Palm leaf is highly organic. It decays in a century or so due to humidity and insects. Because of this, virtually all ancient Indian texts, even massive epics like the Mahabharata, survive entirely through multiple recopied recensions. So the claim of the Malika doesn't rest on the age of one single physical leaf. It rests on a continuously preserved textual tradition across multiple independent manuscript lineages backed by checkable astronomy. Move into number 2, the hindsight problem. The hindsight problem is the very fair skeptical point that vague prophecies only look true when you look backward. And we have to concede that vague omens prove absolutely nothing. If a text just says, times will be hard, it's pretty useless as evidence. But the Bhavishya Malika doesn't just offer moods, it offers a checklist. According to 2 independent manuscripts, the Paduka Kalki by Bhima Boy, Adhyaya 31, and the Tattva Bodhini by Achyutananda Das, Nabam Adhyaya, page 46, the text explicitly names a Meena Shani marker. This means Saturn moving into the zodiac sign of Pisces. That's not a vague feeling. That is a verifiable, datable astronomical position. And here is the exact date that astronomical event occurred. Saturn entered Pisces on March 29, 2025. You don't need faith to verify this. You just need an ephemeris or a basic astronomy app. The text named a real celestial event and tied the sharpening of global upheaval to that specific clock. But a real prophecy cannot just be checkable in the past, right? It must be able to fail in the future. The Malika tradition openly provides falsifiable decoded years for future events, specifically 2027 for a major geopolitical shift involving Russia and India, and 2032 for the beginning of the Satya Yuga. Let me be perfectly clear. 2027 and 2032 are decoded years, not quoted verses. But they are completely falsifiable. You can literally watch them happen or watch them fail. It keeps your skepticism active. Which brings us to number 3, the secrecy problem. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it tackles the accusation that the tradition conveniently hides verifiable details. Let's correct a very common false premise, honestly. The myth is that the exact birthplace of the Kalki avatar is a closely guarded secret. The fact is, it's not withheld at all. As written in Kali Yuga by Achyutananda Das, chapter 3, page 12, and in both the Srimad Bhagavat and the Mahabharata, the birthplace is openly named as Sambal, or Sambal Nagar. What the texts do keep secret are other specific proof details, but they do so by their own internal command. Achyutananda Das writes, "Do not reveal to the unworthy." The texts explain that recognizing the divine in human form isn't about having a map pin or GPS coordinates. Their core recognition doctrine states that even the highest yogi will fail to recognize the Lord in that hour. The secret isn't a location. Recognizing it requires a changed observer. Number 4, the moving target problem. Skeptics rightly point out that failed doomsday cults constantly shift their dates when the world doesn't end, but we have to distinguish between a single shifted doom date and a described process with staged markers. According to Bhavishya Malika, this is a sequence. As anchored by verses like Kali Yuga, chapter 2, page 8, the timeline is linear. The initial signs began in 2005. A specific age 10 marker occurred in 2014. The manifestation accelerated in 2022. The Meena Shani window was fulfilled exactly in 2025. Russia's assistance to India is slated for 2027, leading to the dawn of Satya Yuga in 2032. This is a sequence of dominoes, not a moving target. And looking directly at the physical texts like Kali Yuga, chapter 7, page 21, and others, the headline date of 2032 is stable across multiple independent manuscript lineages. We openly concede and label that these modern calendar years are transparent decodes of ancient Odia planetary cycles, not direct numbers quoted in the verse. Transparency is the point here, but the fact that independent texts converge on the exact same endpoint shows a cataloged reality, not a timeline being made up on the fly. Finally, number 5, counting only the hits. Confirmation bias is the human tendency to count only the hits and ignore the misses. The honest answer to this bias is having a rigorous method. We have to label claims, keep future claims open, and clearly name what is unproven. Remarkably, the Mahalika actually contains its very own built-in skepticism test. As written in Kuta Baduni by Achyutananda Das, page 51, the scripture explicitly predicts that there will be 12 false Kalkis who rise up. It literally commands devotees to rigorously test every single claimant against the signs. It demands skepticism. So, the crucial point is how this plays out in reality. On August 10, 2025, a verified event occurred. Multiple men publicly stepped forward, claiming to be Kalki. This is an observed connection to the text's warning. We must carefully label this. It is a verified event aligning with the scripture, but it is not ultimate proof. We must keep future claims open and test everything, just as the text demands. That brings us to our conclusion, the evidence and the answer. As we close this file, look at what we've covered. None of these 5 objections were straw men. We presented the skeptic's side fully, and we simply showed the evidence honestly. So, the open question is, what does an honest person do once their doubt has been answered by the evidence? Well, the Bhavishya Malika offers a warm, zero-cost invitation to anyone. It advises 3 simple practices. Practice Trisanja, which means observing the 3 daily prayer windows, chant the divine name Madhava, and read the Srimad Bhagavad. And this is the ultimate takeaway. This text offers hope, never fear. Because according to the Bhavishya Malika, the date on the other side of all this upheaval is 2032, the dawn of Satya Yuga, the age of truth. The evidence is on the table, the timeline is ticking, and the destination is clear. The only question left is, will you be ready when the new dawn breaks?